This is Centered, where faith meets everyday life. Our hope is to invite you into a better story, a story where you're made new through Jesus, living with God-given purpose, and experiencing peace, joy, and freedom. Together, we'll explore what it means to keep Jesus at the center of where we live, work, and play, bringing beauty, meaning, and renewal to every part of our lives. Thank you for joining us. Here are your hosts, David and Ben.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Centered Podcast. And your introduction lied to you because it is not your host, Ben and David, but it is David. But I am joined by two very special guests that I'm so excited about. Returning guest, Michelle Williams. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, so good to be back.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
And one of my oldest favorite people in the world. Not oldest, like you're the oldest.
You're
like
old.
I've known you guys for a little while now. Yeah, it's been a couple of years. But Britt, Steuben, they are dear friends and in our life group, and really excited to have you on the podcast. Hi, Britt.
Hi.
How are
so
you doing?
Good to be here. I'm good. I'm great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's Jiwoo up to? Give us a little update on Jiwoo, because I follow him on Instagram.
Oh, I know. Yeah. He just went to bike camp today.
Mhm.
Day one. He was nervous, but he crushed it. He wore his helmet home. He was so excited. He was riding around in the cul-de-sac. Yeah, he's doing great. He is a very active, energetic, funny guy. I mean,
That's awesome.
I can't, there's so many things that I cannot, like, I document pretty much everything he does because he's pretty ridiculous. And he he does the Macarena on the kitchen counter while I'm
It's
cooking
amazing.
him breakfast. And so
He's my favorite.
He's living his best life.
I always have to
awesome.
keep up with them, and then I love harassing him at church. on
Yes,
Sunday.
I know.
And he's just like, "Who's this strange guy that follows me on Instagram?"
Yeah. He loves it. He loves it. He thrives in that.
Michelle,
That's funny.
you're I'm not going to speak for you, but somewhere along the line your soul is crushed and your heart is in your hand. Tell us what's
my
going
heart is just like in pieces. Our youngest son, Scout, he graduated. And so, yeah, it just is a whole season is closing and entering into the unknown, and it's uncertain. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
So it's like the untethering.
Yeah.
We're so proud and so excited. But just like what Megan said on Sunday,
Yeah.
just like the in-between,
Mhm.
you know, holding on to the things like, oh, I'm sad, but also there's space in the joy. Yeah.
It's hard to hold it together
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, I can't. I cry every day.
Little Scout.
I
I met Scout when he was like 6 or 7 years old. Moses
Yeah.
was still in diapers.
Yes.
And to
Oh.
see him become a man. You told me he's 18 the other day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? How did that
I know.
happen? That's insane.
Oh, I know. It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
It's awesome.
So document everything because
Yeah.
it goes by so fast.
I know.
It man, we so I was talking before we hit record, but when I invited you guys on, we had a whole different topic that we thought we were going to talk about, and the Lord derailed my sermon, and so I just apologized. I was like, "Hey, you guys, I want you to think about this for the next month," and you guys were probably doing work, and so thank you for allowing the Holy Spirit to call an audible. And so I'm excited to get into our conversation today. It's going to be really cool. And I think, honestly, I've been praying that this would really help people find freedom, like in some really serious and real ways, you know? And so I really believe in this topic. I don't think I knew how much I believed in this topic until I started preparing for the sermon and the Holy Spirit started speaking. And so, thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
I do want to start out. I want to catch up a little bit. We got to get to know Britt a little bit. She's a newer guest, and you've had a lot going on in this last year.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask a question like this: what is Not Till Now, and how did it become what it is?
Okay, so Not Till Now is an event where firsts take the stage. So at the debut event in January, we had first time speakers, people doing stand up for the first time. You were on that stage telling a story that you hadn't told in a non-church environment, and it's this night that I didn't even know I could pull off until it happened. And the first one was at the Lakewood Cultural Center in front of a sold out audience of 320 people. And so that was a not till now thing of its own. And so everything that I do just kind of happens because of something else. So I as I was talking about also before we started recording with Michelle, but I self-published a book in 2023 called Mama Be Present. And I keep looking at the camera because I'm so used to looking at the camera when I do my own podcast. And I don't know if anyone...
I don't know. Look at the camera. Hi, guys.
That's awesome.
So at my book launch, I had, 100 women in this room, and I got up and spoke a little bit. But what I really wanted after that was to hear other women get up and speak. So then created an event called Moms on the Mic, and then did 3 of those. With what's fun about that event is there's women who have prepared something to speak on, and it's a mix of storytelling and comedy. And then there's also some open mic moments where some women throw their name into a bowl and then their name is drawn.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of these women had never spoken before, or, again, like they're sharing something for the first time. And I really loved that. The watching someone do something they've never done before
That's so cool.
in front of other people is just such a sacred, really cool thing. And so after the first Moms on the Mic, Not Till Now came to me, and I put it in my notes app, but didn't really know how I was going to bring it to fruition. And all along, I was thinking, okay, this is when I'm going to share my story. And I would picture myself sharing it, and I would picture the event happening in this venue. And I never thought that I could pull this off, on my own. I always thought, I should team up with someone, or, and then I don't know. You're probably regretting asking me this question because I go in so many directions.
No, it's awesome. This is you. This is you.
But basically, after a really rough go with my health and I had a really rough year, and then when I came out of that and also got on some hormone replacement therapy, I felt normal again, and I wanted to just embrace that. And so I emailed the Lakewood Culture Center, and I'm like, "Hey, what does it look like to host an event here?" And then just did it, and it was such an incredible experience to put this on with a group of 10 other people, and there was just a lot of trust and a lot of fear, and since the event, talking to all of you and hearing how doing the scary thing, doing the thing you've never done before opens so many other things up.
Yeah, totally.
And you ask yourself, well, what next? What else is possible? And you just keep growing. And so
I love that. Tara, my wife's Tara, is going to be on your podcast
I heard
next week, which is she's excited about because she was a spectator in that, and it is a powerful event. And one of the things that I've always loved about you, Britt, is how open you are to people that aren't like you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm around so many Christian environments that aren't as open to outsiders, and it's always broken my heart about the church or Christianity, I remember I saw one of your reels you did stand-up comedy for the first time, and you show up at church, and I tell you I saw that, and your face immediately dropped. You're like, you mean you heard me talk about poop? And it's like, yeah, I did. Awesome. And it was hilarious. And I thought that was amazing. But I loved your face when you saw my approval of you doing that.
Oh.
I just
Yeah.
remember like doing that. And
Hmm.
I thought, man, you have been that for so many people who maybe have hard stories or hard situations or been marginalized for whatever reason, personal life choices or whatever's going on. And your approval and acceptance of them, I think, is powerful. So thanks for doing that. And if you don't know Not Till Now, go look it up. It's going to be amazing. So
Yeah, next one's September 30th.
yeah.
So,
Okay, I'm gonna
yeah.
get a ticket.
All
Yeah.
right.
I am going.
And Michelle, you've been up to some new things too, so you got to
Yeah.
catch us up. We didn't talk about this last time you were on because it was a little newer for you, but
Mhm.
you've been a chaplain,
Yeah.
which is crazy, in the
It is crazy.
marketplace.
Yeah.
Like not in a religious like
No.
concept or anything like that. And so
Mhm.
I would love context. That's the word I was thinking. Tell us a little bit about that. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been such a cool space just to be, just like the ministry of presence.
Mhm.
Like literally just every time I, meet with people, I have specific organizations that I work with that are so, walking with like sex traffic, and it just is, their stories and what they're coming with
Mhm.
is so heavy, and being able to provide a space for them to I always start out, I'm like, do you need me just to listen? What do you need of me today?
Mm.
And so and just being a place of where I know when at my previous job, and it was very difficult, I didn't have that to
Yeah.
go to. I
Yeah.
was kind of carrying it alone.
Mhm.
And so being able to even fill in that gap of something that I needed. So now I'm able to provide that space for individuals, which is really cool. And another who would have thought, it's what I always say. It's kind of like I just walk into things. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, who would have thought
Yeah.
that I would be doing this?
Not till now.
Not till now.
Yeah.
Not till now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's been it's been such a gift for me as well. Just providing
Have
space.
there been any like common like threads or struggles in your conversations with people as they're carrying stress and stuff? Have you been able to identify anything like that yet?
Yeah, I work with a lot of women specifically who are wearing a ton of hats in their
Yeah.
family, so to speak. Plus their jobs are really hard. And so and just like a lot of marital stuff.
Wow.
And yeah. And so right now that's kind of the current theme
Mm.
of it.
Well, I'm so thankful that both of you are in the spaces that you're in. And yeah, really excited to jump into this conversation with you guys today. And I would love to ask just both of you real quick, like in this season that you guys are in right now, what have you discovered about yourself that surprised you the most?
Oh wow.
What have you discovered about yourself that surprised you the most? Because you guys both are tackling new seasons in many, I know Michelle in many different ways, and for you too, Britt. But yeah, maybe there's something that you're like, man, I discovered this about me, and it surprised the mess out of me.
Man.
What do you have,
I
Britt?
don't know. How am I surprised myself? Let's see. I think oh man, this is tough.
Mhm.
This is tough. Hopefully you guys edit out the long pauses, right?
Eddie's got some
Mhm.
editing
Yeah.
to do. This is-
Yeah, hopefully. I think just in a bigger season, right? In these last 2 years, right? Of not I never thought I was a morning person, and I never thought that, not drinking could be like an actual amazing thing. But yeah, it's been a little over 2 years now, and I'm continually just surprising myself in ways of like, wow, like I love to get up really early in the morning, and I just love to go to bed early, and I find joy in just being in my pajamas at home. That hasn't changed. That's a surprise.
You'd always
There's
do that about
nothing new
yourself.
about that. But
Sure.
Yeah, the
lately-
sobriety piece is interesting to think of that journey.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
surprisingly being good with it.
And lately, just within these last few months, like I really have started to just feel okay with not doing a lot of things. Like I will just be okay with just sitting and, just even okay scrolling through my phone sometimes,
Sure.
like in the morning, just like, okay, like I've got nothing to give right now. So I'm just going to look at some funny memes. And like, that's why I connected so much with when I started following you and just your last 2 posts that I saw about just slowing down and savoring life. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'm just surprising myself in those ways of like, I like to be slower than I actually have been my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's profound.
Even like piggyback off that, I think slowing down I am more of like I like a slower life, but what's surprising me is how my life has slowed down and I don't like it.
Oh.
That's surprising me.
Oh.
So I'm like, no, I like the slower life, not so chaotic, but life, I don't have so many things to do. And that's surprising me that I am trying to, even in my current season, I'm like, okay, how can I fill my time? Because it's just, and I'm okay like sitting in the space of like how I feel, but I think it's just getting a little too quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like this as much as it sounds like I thought I would like it. Yeah.
And I'm surprised. I'm really
Interesting.
surprised by that.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
interesting.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a like a paradox in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is hard to embrace. Sometimes that paradoxical state is hard to hold on to.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That's
It's a good question.
I think I know just knowing your guys' stories, and there's so much that you guys have to teach, others in the world just about what it means to be human, discovering life, and so I can't wait for some of this stuff to come out. But man, so as I mentioned before, we studied Luke 17 this last week, and we looked at the parable of the 10 lepers. And if you grew up in church and heard that story, you've probably heard some sort of version about, the Samaritan being the grateful one, and the other 9 not being grateful, and some sort of like version of that story, but probably never connected it to the idea of unforgiveness.
Never.
Or like true forgiveness and what that is in the text. And I had never either, just to be honest. Like that was my first discovery of that connection too. And it was, it just really got me thinking. But one of the themes coming out of that was that the things we think we've dealt with, we often have a way of resurfacing in our lives. I told that little story about the plant in my front yard,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And the all of that. And the mulberry tree was really a powerful image for me this week when I understood like how the root systems run deep and kind of take over everything else, but the fruit on it is really sweet. And sometimes my junk is like that. Like I think like it tastes sweet in the moment, but it's destroying everything
else.
that's going on underneath. And so I wanted to just talk a little bit about what do you think are some modern mulberry roots in our lives that quietly grow beneath the surface of our lives that we tend to like try to hide?
Dang. These are deep questions today.
Well, we all got them.
So common things that other people are
You or
experiencing?
it can be both. Things you see people hold on to and hide, beneath the surface of their lives. I think it's important for us to talk real about this, because I think a lot of people don't feel the permission to talk about what is really going on.
I would say like, this just came to the top of my head. Just in the Christian world, it could be just like, well, I'm a good person. And that's not even in the Christian world, but just I'm a good person. I serve. I do this. I do this. I do this. I do this. But I would say, from my experience, not only in my own life, but talking with other people, they're hiding under that. And because like if we do and we're doing good and smiling and taking care of and serving at the church, then you don't have to really get too deep within ourselves.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, when you name that, it's self-righteousness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I know. I
Sure.
have it. You know,
Yeah.
I have it all the time, and I
Mhm.
feel, like I do all the time to try to atone for my sin. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm always like, oh well, I'll serve or I'll teach or I'll connect with this person or I'll do, like, and I'm trying to make up for my brokenness in some sort of way, and I would never admit that.
Mhm.
And it always looks good. Other people are like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
that's
like,
awesome.
oh,
Look what
yeah.
David did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And yeah, that I think is a big mulberry
Yeah.
root in our lives for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first thing that came to my mind was grudges, just things
Mhm.
that that people just can't let go of, but they won't address it, right?
Mhm.
Or they won't admit that they played a role in it too.
Hmm.
And I think also, I mean, I was talking to my husband David about this last night. Is you think you and there's so many things that you talked about yesterday, right? Like we know that we can find freedom in the Lord. Like we know on the surface,
Mhm.
we know all the things. We know the information, but do we really believe it in our hearts? And is there? I mean, there's so much that I want to unpack, but I think it's hard to admit, and you may not even know. I didn't even know this, but it's hard to admit that there are things in your own life that you're like, Jesus can't touch that. Like there's no
Yeah.
way that just can't be healed. That's no, like that's awesome that person has found that. Great, cool, amazing. But me, no, that will never
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
And like actually not realizing, not believing that he can heal
Yeah.
yourself, that he
Mhm.
can heal you. So
The wound.
yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of that in my life. And I just,
Mhm.
there's always the thing underneath the thing.
The thing.
Yeah.
And we love to
Mhm.
like focus on the fruit,
Mhm.
instead of
Yeah.
like the thing underneath the thing. And I know Tara and I got in a fight a couple weeks ago. And it was like, we call them moments of intense fellowship in our household, right? Like, so,
That was a fight.
and yes, if you're judging me on there watching, yes, Tara and I have fights, and like I'm getting so like I was so angry like in this moment, and I was like and what I realized is that what I was expressing anger,
Mhm.
but what I was feeling was shame.
Mm.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
there was, and it was just this aha moment of like, yeah, what happened is the reason I'm so angry is because you bumped up against a wound that I haven't brought to the Lord yet.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's like an
Yeah.
insecurity and or an anger, and it, for me it's always family of origin stuff. Like that's my journey that I got to struggle. My
Mhm.
relationship with my dad was awful, so those are the things that like come up in my own heart. And I was just, but I don't know that I ever in my whole marriage ever had that such clarity in that moment of being like, oh,
Mhm.
that's actually not anger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it's actually something, like it's expressed itself as anger, but it was
Deep pain.
Mhm.
it was a root system
Mhm.
that was lodged out, and now I'm still I've identified it. It's not gone.
now
You know what I
that-
mean?
yeah.
Like I kind of know how to tiptoe around it. But like to your point, it's like, and we will talk about that. I want to hear more about this idea later, and we'll talk about how does Jesus actually get in there and start to rip up those roots in our hearts. But yeah, I do think we do that with so many things in our lives. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Oh yeah. I would think that for one of the things that, I mean, honestly, yesterday when you preached this, I was just like, oh God, okay, I have a lot. I need to get on that surgeon table right now because you're ripping my heart out.
Yeah.
Because God's like, there's so many things that Michelle, like, and he's so kind because he doesn't do it all at once.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and I prepared you. Now this is something for you. And Freddie and I got in a fight. A really
Moment of
intense fight.
intense fellowship.
Yes, we did. So just not too long ago, and I call myself like I live in like the like just real, just let's just be real, let's just like table talk it out. And he will share this as well, and he might has already, but where he in the past has like kind of like lived above it all, kind of like the merit system. And so I was like, I'm holding things against him that I might throw at him like a dagger that I just like haven't healed from or forgiven. And it's from the wounds that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like I've been judged my entire life. And I feel like, well, if you're going to judge me, I'll put you in your place and be like, you're right here with me.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, oh, that is so prideful and that's so ugly. But it is like this wound that I was like, okay, thank you for revealing that to me.
It's so good.
Let's work on that.
Why do you guys think it's so hard for us to admit that we're wounded?
Ooh. Man.
Because I just what you're saying, like I'm just starting and I'm 50, you know, and I'm just starting to be like okay with like naming the things that are going on in me. But I know for so long I felt I didn't call that a wound. Like I wouldn't call it a wound. And when something hurts, when you touch a wound and there's pain, it's because it's not healed yet, or it's infected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are the things that can happen in us. And instead of like being like, oh, I still got a wound that isn't healed yet, I don't know, maybe this is a guy thing. Maybe it's easier for women or not. I don't know what this is, but I'm just like, I'm fine. You know, I'm not wounded. Like I'm a strong man. Like I don't know what that is, but is that like, do you guys feel that same way? Like it's really hard to admit that we have unhealed wounds in our lives?
I think so. I totally feel that. I feel like we live in a world where, you know, everyone's moving at a pace where there's not even space to really ask someone how they're really doing, right? Like if you ask someone how they're doing at the grocery store, or, you know, of course that's not the context to be like,
except Britt's gonna be like, I got this gaping wound.
Yeah. But like there's been plenty of times in my life where that question almost makes me start crying because I'm like, where do I begin?
Yeah.
You know? And I think for me personally, I am usually, I don't want to inconvenience people. I want to keep things just nice and easy for everyone. I don't want to be the one that slows people down.
Yeah.
That's why I don't go skiing, because you'll be with me on the hill on my butt all day. But
my mess doesn't need to be your mess.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how other people. I'd love to get in everyone else's mind. Like, why? Why won't you tell me?
Yeah. I feel like I am more of like, I'll tell you because that's freeing for me to share. Yeah. Yet I'm very like guarded on like, you know, obviously what I say, what I don't say. But for me, like I've found freedom in sharing because I think, and that has just been part of my healing process. My biggest thing is my honesty or vulnerability can and has tended to make other people feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like where I am more like, I'm going to make you feel really uncomfortable. And so this is not the time or the place,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
That
will just kind of
inconvenience.
like hold those wounds in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think this is an important conversation because everybody wants wholeness. Everyone wants to be whole. Everybody wants healing. But what happens is sometimes I think people, it's easier for people to address the fruit of their lives instead of really opening up to like the wound in their lives and being honest about the wound.
Yeah.
Because like it's much easier. Just to be honest, like I go to like men's prayer meetings all the time. It's like, men are like, oh, I need to pray for my anger or my patience or my thing. And it's really like, no, you have a daddy wound that's never been healed. And like that's, you don't want to say that.
Yeah.
So it's like easy. And I don't know if women have like a similar like thing in that, but it's like, I want people to know like Jesus wants to heal us. But he's such a kind, like tender, like he's not going to force healing on us. And it's like at some point we have to let him in to the real wounds that are going on like underneath our hearts. And that's just, I feel like you said, we live in such a busy culture and there's not time or space to really evaluate what's really going on underneath the thing. And I often think sometimes our disciplines of prayer or reading scripture are more us trying to prove ourselves to God than opening ourselves up to him.
Right.
And like I wonder if we would get like how do you think we can create a space where people are free to like share what's really going on underneath, to be honest about it?
I think one thing like working with and just living life and with people who maybe are on the margins in life in this world where it's kind of like when I was working in the prison, it's like everyone's in prison. They've done something to be there.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't really hide behind a lot, right? And so when I started working there, it was so cool because it was just like, okay, like no more hiding, no more pretending. And that, like, how can we create that space in a church environment or in a small group? And I think it's like us going first, right?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I think just whether you're actually sitting with someone having coffee and you're the one that shares what's been on your heart, that gives someone else permission. But also just being the one to reach out too. I, actually strangely enough, after we recorded your interview for my podcast and I was sending it to people and I'm like, this is just so good. You got to listen to it. There's so many good nuggets about life. And I can't tell you how many people were like, oh my gosh, the timing of this is crazy. Like I've just had a really tough day, or I'm having a really tough time. And like, even without even asking point blank, like, how are you? Is everything okay? Because sometimes that question can be so overwhelming, but even just sending them something to get, like, even if it's just a quote or something that inspired you, or I've sent songs to people. I'm like, this song really inspired me today, and that has opened things up with people. And
which that's an act of vulnerability too. Like sharing yourself with someone else. Like, hey, I saw this and I thought, thought of you. That's huge. I remember Michelle would argue with me, but I have the best life group in the world. She would argue. She has a pretty awesome life group too. Not as awesome as ours, but she has an awesome life group. No, it's probably exactly the same. But I remember the moment in our life group where we all were like figuring out that we were all just as messed up as everyone else. Like we had that moment of where we're like, Oh, wait a minute. We're all jacked up, and and it's okay. Like no one's gonna judge you, and like, and it was a really sweet moment. From that time on, it was like our group was just like, we're here for one another, and I do think that someone has to go first.
Yeah,
in that piece of vulnerability, and the problem is sometimes you put yourself out there and you get hurt.
Sure.
But it's a risk, like true love. And I don't mean in a romantic way, but experiencing the love of belonging is a risk, it's always that way. And so, I just think it's so interesting. And so in the sermon, I connected the 10 lepers to Jesus's opening statements about forgiveness. And he starts out and he's like, so watch yourselves. And he's like, if your brother sins against you, go to him and rebuke. And we always have this weird thing. Rebuke sounds so harsh, and it's literally, it literally means just show them the error of their ways. Like that's what it means. Bring that to them. And if they repent, like if they come into agreement with you, then forgive them. And then he like ups it and he's like, if they do this 7 times in one day, forgive them. Which I was like, whoa, could you imagine if someone literally like hurt you 7 times in one day and came to you and was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, and you got to forgive. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But watch yourselves was a big piece. Like when Jesus tells his disciples to watch yourselves when someone sins against them, like why do you think Jesus puts the focus on us, the one who got hurt, instead of the one who is hurting? Like how did that land on you guys? Like what are some of your thoughts of like, why do you think that's important for Jesus?
Well, I appreciated the part of that, and it may have came later, I don't know, where you were like, well, what do you mean? This person just did something to me. Like why do I have to watch myself? Yeah, because the whole like watch yourself before you wreck yourself thing. And I really resonated with that. But it's wild because one of my big realizations was, holy cow, like, yeah, because I'm just as broken, right, as this other person or anyone who does anything to me. And I may be jumping ahead, but the whole idea of having that mentality of, I can't believe someone just did something to me. I'm such a nice person. Why would they do that to me? Is actually entitlement and feeling like you're almost better than these people. And that was a big eye opener to me. Like, oh my gosh, we're exactly the same. This is, so you got to watch yourself because you are no better than that person. And that person is likely going through a lot of stuff as well that they have not addressed. And the harder and the worst thing that they did to you is probably because they have insane pain, and I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
but
because, I've had some pretty bad stuff happen to me, know, like in my growing up years, and people who were supposed to protect me hurt me. And, like, in that, coming to that realization is so hard. It's so hard. Like, you're like, man.
Yeah, but it's so freeing
too.
It's
so freeing.
To see this person as a
human
is actually really life-giving.
I liked what you said just about, this might be jumping ahead as well, but with this forgiveness piece of like, first, like Jesus saying, watch yourself. I think that was a warning of just like, I know what this unforgiveness does to you.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, I know what it can do to you. It literally will just eat your heart up. And so that's how I perceived it, was just like Jesus being like, I know what unforgiveness does to you. And also in that, a gentle reminder too, is just like, you have been forgiven much. Don't forget. And so I think one thing that's been helpful to me is just always putting a mirror in front of my face before I see anyone else.
Yeah.
When I think that's like seeing like, man, first and foremost, Jesus, like, I don't deserve this. And you freely have given this to me. You freely have forgiven me, and you continue to forgive me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, who am I? Who am I not to? But with that said, I liked what the important thing of like when you talked about abuse
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just like when you've been harmed, is just like the forgiveness is for us, like that freedom
Yeah.
you're releasing. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it's like, Jesus, take it.
Yep.
Take it.
Yeah. Well, let's go there, because I think this is important, like, conversation. Like, what does unforgiveness do to us?
I think it's literally kills you slowly. It
Mhm.
literally just, I feel like you just become, dead, angry,
Mm-hmm.
angry.
Yeah. Lots of
It's
anger
a lot of
in
anger for some
unforgiveness.
people.
Yeah.
Isolation.
I become super, when I'm holding on to something, and it's, yeah. I love being married. Our spouses know us better than anything, and they can always, like,
It's like
tell, you know what I mean,
yeah.
when stuff's really going on. I love
Mhm.
that about,
Mhm.
Yeah.
being married and having someone so close to you. But I get super judgmental.
Mm.
Like, that's just like, when I'm holding on to something, it's like everything is like, look at that person driving, look at that
Oh.
person in the checkout, like, look at that, you know what I mean? Like, I just
Yeah.
get, like, really judgmental, which is interesting, because you were talking about how it's like, we create, like, we elevate ourselves over
Yeah.
the person that harms us, or that we think we deserve better than. And so it's almost like I become prideful.
Yep.
Like, in a
Yes.
strange way, you know, like, I was a victim, and now I'm like the victimizer, but in my head and heart, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not actually with my hands, but like, I become really judgmental. So I don't know if you guys have experienced that phenomenon.
Oh yeah. Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
self-protection.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly
Yes.
what's happening. It's like you feel like you've been harmed, and just like you're putting this shield up, and like the protection, which is pride,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it is like that pride, and it comes out in like entitlement or judgment or mine comes out pretty prideful and ugly. Yeah.
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think mine comes out in just doing everything but facing it, you know? It comes out in
Avoidance.
overworking and
Yes.
and just staying super busy
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 and just avoiding it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, because I've noticed, like, it's in those moments, like, I have a hard time, like, even expressing love to people I actually love.
Mm.
But more than that, like, I have a hard time receiving love, like, when there's unforgiveness, and then there's like and I think it's that self-protection, like,
Mhm.
piece
Yeah.
that's in there. And so I think there's real, I think there's real effects to unforgiveness. And I think the biggest one is not being able to receive the love of God.
Mhm.
I really do. I think when we carry guilt and shame and bitterness, and when that thing really turns, I notice that my intimacy with God is very thin.
Mhm.
It's not like he's absent or not there
Sure.
or not pursuing me, but I know for me, I have a really hard time, like, letting him in
Mhm.
to that part of my life. And I think that's, to your point, Michelle, I think that's why Jesus thought it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's like that strong. So watch yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Mhm.
actually cutting off your lifeline to the only thing that can give you life,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
in that moment. And
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. There was one question that was asked, that you asked. It was, what are you holding on to that only Jesus can free you from? Or
Yeah.
something
Mhm.
along
Yeah.
those lines. And that is when it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So 22 years ago this week, which is wild. I was raped and then later assaulted numerous times by someone I trusted and knew. And I thought I was healed. It's so many different times along the way.
Mhm.
And then there's been so many times where that plant has come up
Yeah.
because those roots have actually been there, but not once did I actually think. So I've reflected a lot on the things that God has worked in my life and the ways that he has brought really good things out of a deep wound. And I'm grateful for that, but I have never brought
my deepest wound directly to him. I've never talked to him. I've never prayed to him about that one thing until yesterday. And like, even before the sermon began, when you were praying about what was going to happen, you're like, I'm praying for, peace and freedom and bring these things that we were just singing about to make these realities real, right? And let this give us peace in the chaos. And this, I started welling up with my eyes closed because I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't actually prayed about this. Like, I've brought all kinds of other things to him, but this is the one thing that never felt like it could be healed. Like, this was just off limits. And this had shame.
Yeah.
So much shame. And so started praying to him about it. And we were singing at the end and just, man, almost put my hands up but I'm not there yet.
We'll get you.
Speaking of pride, I'm like, whoa, almost did. And then in the shower, oh my gosh, I stood there and I was like, I had my hands over my heart and I was like, just take it, and I've never asked him to take that. And I swear, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted and so much has just come out of my chest,
Yeah.
But isn't it so cool how, again, like, going to the point of just like, God knows it's inside of us.
Yeah.
And he just like, not yet. She's too tender, or it's not time yet. And then like yesterday, you're just like, and it's time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sweetness of him. I love the story with when the lepers leave Jesus, it says, as you go, they're being healed. So I know we've talked about this around our table many of times, but just like, I can imagine like the leprosy, like people, the guys without fingers or noses, and be like, oh my gosh, your nose is back. But
Totally.
it's just like, as you go, healing comes.
Yes.
And I believe that's like what you experienced.
Yeah.
It's just like, as you go, the healing comes.
Right.
That's like, to me, I'm like, that is the intimacy in the Lord and his kindness and gentleness with us. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that with us. Thank you. Like, I didn't, obviously, everyone's story is their own. And so I want to create space for that, but I never assume. And Tara and I were talking last night, and we were just like, it is an as you go, because I think it wasn't just a moment. It was a culmination of like your willingness to share that with others and open up with a community of people and allow, it just over time, it was like this, like, okay. All right, God, like you've been preparing me for this. And it's like, okay. And I love that. Like, I absolutely love that. That's like what happened with you. And Tara and I literally, like, I got your text last night and you were sharing that. Tara and I literally prayed and thanked God that he allowed us to be a part of your story. And it was just like, we were like weeping and just like humbled by the fact that like God would allow us to be a part of his journey with you, and so it's been awesome.
Likewise. But I mean, it really all started with our life group. I mean, we were going around sharing our stories and our testimonies, and I had never shared my whole thing in front of people to that extent that, and it was amazing to still be loved after that, because I never knew that was one of the things holding me back, right? Is you just think that people are going to run for the hills when you actually tell them who you are and where you've come from. And so then that's what kind of got me thinking, oh boy, okay, it was one of those other like plant moments. Like, okay, there's still a lot here. But it's that was the beginning of just really metabolizing it, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah, and what are you guys learning right now about like healthy ways to process your pain? Like I know, you know, like we're all learning and maturing and growing, and you don't take a class on that, you know, in college or elementary school or whatever. But like, what are some things you guys have learned that are like you just use the word metabolize? How do you process your pain in a way that's healthy and leads to healing?
I think finding your people, and that could be your one or your three or your group. I think that's been helpful to me, having that, but also knowing. I mean, I am also I go to therapy, and I have since I was 18. And I will until the day I die. 'Cause it helps. I mean, I just process, and it's been so helpful for me. But I think the being honest with myself
Mm,
and with Jesus, be
Yeah.
like, man, I'm really hurting right now,
yeah.
and I can't. I was telling Megan this earlier. Just like even in this current season, I'm like, I can't muster it up. I can't. I'm like, all these feelings, I'm like, I just can't, where I could figure it out how to, do whatever, and everything's gonna be fine, and I know it is, but just like, being honest with myself and being okay with, I just can't, I don't have the energy, I don't have it's kind of like Jesus is like, yeah, let me hold you here.
Yeah.
And being held in this space is really, unfamiliar, because the doing and the busy and do for all the people, be all the things to the people, and it's just like, I don't have that, and just like, because I am for you in this moment.
Wow.
And I've never experienced that, so that's been part of this process of just like really being honest with, like, man, I have some deep wounds that keep coming up, and then also like the freedom in knowing that I don't know if I'm going to be fully healed on this side of heaven. I don't honestly think we are. Pastor, you could tell me wrong. Tell me that I'm wrong, but I don't
You
know.
won't be.
Yeah, I won't be. So I'm just like, okay.
Let me just tell you.
I was like, okay, because that to me.
You're screwed up, and you always will be.
miserable.
It's some level of.
Very true. That actually freaked
There's
me
some
a lot,
pastor talk for you.
Thank you. Perfect. But I think finding that freedom too, just knowing like, as I go, I'm being healed. And as even in the forgiveness piece, just like where I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I had fully forgiven and released. But I think it's like, what I'm learning is like, as I go, I'm like, even when I'm like, I'm here again. Okay, here you are, God, like, help me forgive, because I thought I forgave.
Yeah.
But it's that holding on to a piece, and I don't mean to hold on to it, but it's still painful.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that will ever go away on this side of heaven.
That's a hard, what I think we confuse is, and I was actually going to talk about this yesterday, but you just don't have enough time to. What is what you just said is forgiveness of yourself and others is a process always. Like, it's never just a moment in time. And I think we put that expectation of like, okay, I forgive, and then you're done, and then you push it down, and then and then it just festers like underneath. And when you have the freedom to realize that forgiveness is actually a process that you need to go through, like grieving or like any other type of pain that trauma, you have to go through a process of forgiving. And two, I think we assume that forgiveness means the pain is going to go away. And it doesn't.
Yeah.
And we confuse those two things, because it's like, like, I still hurt. That's still a wound that still hurts. And you're like, and that feels paradoxical, right? It's like, how can I forgive while I'm still feeling this wound? And that was a part of absorbing the pain. And I didn't have time to get into like all of that. But forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, and forgiving doesn't mean that the pain is not there. It actually means you come to grips with the fact that you're wounded. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. accept Jesus.
Right,
You know what I
Jesus.
mean? Like
Yeah.
accept
Yeah.
Jesus. Like it's and that's a hard. I wish I was just like, oh, just do A, B, and C and read
That's
Proverbs
awesome.
7 and
Yeah.
like I don't, whatever the
Yes.
it just doesn't
No.
work that way. Okay, we gotta I want to talk about this. We got we're doing good, man. You guys are awesome. I want to talk about forgiveness as trust. And that to me was a big piece for my own personal journey, is like offering forgiveness is really an act of trusting God. It's an act of faith, which is why they responded when Jesus like, hey, you got to forgive, and they're like, increase our faith. You know what I mean? It's like because and it's like they weren't like, increase my love or increase my ability. It's like, no, it's an act of trusting God with this. And I just want to, like, when you guys process that idea, what do you think we're trusting God with? When we are asking God, or God's asking us to trust him with your unforgiveness, like, what do you think we're actually asking God in that moment? Or what do you think we're actually trusting God in that moment?
You, is it me? Sure. Go ahead. I would love to hear from you.
I think it's actually, I think for me personally, it's actually trusting and believing that he can take the pain and that he will not punish us or judge us or push us away or question anything, and that he's ultimately the ultimate one, and that we can just give it all to him.
Yeah, judgment piece is huge.
Yeah.
I think that is honestly like, that I don't think we realize how much Jesus loves us and has mercy on us.
Yeah.
Like, and when he looks at our pain, like he pains. Like, it's not like he's just like, suck it up. You know what I mean? Like your dad, when you scrape a knee or something, like, just get up and wipe it off. No big deal. Come on, don't make such a big deal about it. Like, I don't think that's God at all. I think God weeps with us and hurts with us and looks at our condition and is like, that is not the way it's supposed to be. That was not supposed to happen to you. That's not the way the world is supposed to be. That's not how I designed people to relate to each other. And like, I just don't think that that's the view of God that we have in our minds. I think we have to suck it up. It's not that bad. Just wait till heaven. You know what I mean? Like you'll get there. I think like if we're trusting that his heart is breaking just as much as ours is. Or that he pains just as much as we do, in that. And I wonder if we don't do a good enough job in communicating that to people.
I think there's like some pieces in my story where I'm like the forgiveness piece is like, that's where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to ever, like, will I ever fully be free from this? And I don't know if I ever will be. And so, some of it is just like the justice in me is just like, God, I can't, but you can. And so that's where a lot of, in certain things in my life, it's like, I have to be like, I can't, but through you, I need you to do it for me. It reminds me of the story of Corrie ten Boom. And when she was when the war was over and she was sharing her story about being in the concentration camp and losing her family and all that stuff. She was sharing her story all over, and she was actually in Germany at this church sharing her story. And a German soldier came up to her after she shared the story. And he stuck out his hand, and she was just saying, like, I was so reluctant to do so. And so he's just like, he asked for forgiveness, and she's like, I prayed to God. She's like, I can't forgive, but God through me forgive. And so she shook his hand, but she's like, as in her human experience, she's like, I can't, but God, you can.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I mean, that literally shifted my thinking and in my mind because, again, like using the word, and I think I do this a lot, muster myself up. Like, I can, I will. And it's not like, but I think being okay and having the freedom and knowing that God, he can,
Right.
and he wants to, because he know in our own human condition. And so I think that's one thing that's been helpful to like the shift is like, there's
So
some
good.
things that,
Yeah, that's huge. I'm going to remember that one for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And how beautiful that we can see that as virtue instead of like, oh, I can forgive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a good person. She's like,
Yeah.
I can't do this,
Yeah.
but God, you can.
Yeah.
And so if it's
So
going
here
to
you
happen,
go.
that's really
Mhm.
really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, before we end, I feel like we got to talk about two more things real quick. One is I do think we need to talk about forgiveness and boundaries, and I mentioned that forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, and Megan actually asked this question: how can people hold both forgiveness and wisdom like together when it comes? And you guys, we know that forgiveness doesn't mean continuing to put ourselves in harm's way or continuing to like, become, just be abused, in situations. And so what do you think are some healthy boundaries and the distinction between forgiveness and healthy boundaries are in your own story?
Dang. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever even thought of that. I don't know. Gosh.
Because I'd hate for people to
Yeah.
think like, and there is some like Christian stuff there. Like, I've counseled women that were in abusive relationships, and I've even heard that like pastors have counseled them to stay because that's what God. And I'm like, get out of there, like be safe first, and then we'll address what's going on in that whole situation. And there is a distinction between safety and freedom and forgiveness,
Right.
in that.
Right.
Pregnant pause. Okay.
Yeah. I think what's coming to mind for me is basically a lot of things that I wanted to write to my niece before going to college, right? It's almost, when I think of wisdom in this, it's like knowing, and I wrote some of this too, but knowing your worth, right? And of course, how do you, there's, okay, well, how do I know it? There's a lot to that, right? But like if I look back, I'm like, okay, there were a lot of things that I didn't know to be true in my heart. And that led me to be in situations that I probably wouldn't have been in had I believed other things about myself, and I know that there were a lot of things that also happened that were, not my fault, but when it comes down to it, at the core of it, I was in a broken place before that even happened. And so I think the wisdom and the boundaries are just, like just knowing what you deserve and what you don't. And I don't have a clear-cut explanation of how to perform that or to, but
it is a hard thing to do. I love what you're saying right now. And because that's really what boundaries are. They're protecting what's most precious to you. You know what I mean? And really what's most precious to God, and putting like healthy boundaries in place so that we don't get hurt over and over again is sometimes a situation, if there's abuse involved or there's toxicity or things that are really, really unhealthy. And I don't mean I know we're in a culture where everything's toxic just because it makes me uncomfortable or whatever. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, sometimes we need to have a little bit thicker skin, than we do. But I do think there is unhealthy relationships out there. Like I've had to like cut some family members out of my life because of their own problems. I can't heal them.
Yeah.
Like they're not safe to be around, like for me and my kids. And so like I've had to make some of those really hard decisions, and I've struggled with that whole idea of like forgiving them and loving them and wanting good for them. And I really do, like I'm at that place, but also my family can't be around them. Like it's just not safe. So I don't know if you guys have struggled with anything like that before or not, but
I'd say like to what you're saying too, we've had to do that with family. And I think that's the hardest thing, but it is like really listening and like wanting and protecting your family, yourself, but also wanting good for, whoever and whatever. I think it is like when boundaries are set, and that is kind of becoming a more buzzword,
Yeah.
And so like, what does it look like to have, Jesus has boundary lines. And so, and when God creates, he put up boundaries, and it's so we can experience real, true freedom. And so when I would say with anything outside of that boundary line of his grace and his love and his mercy is to be, I don't know, just to ask him if that's needing to be part of your life, because he might be taking us somewhere different, and we can't live in freedom if we have some of these again, toxic or unhealthy, I guess, unhealthy relationships, or, whatever that looks like. But yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? I know so many people that struggle with that. Like when do you, cut a family member out? When do you,
Friends.
you make those decisions?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Because it seems like so selfish.
Yeah.
And not like Jesus. But then when you read scripture and you really see who Jesus is, like sometimes you just have to dust your feet off.
Yeah. And I think it's important to watch yourself.
Yeah.
So when you do that, watch yourself, because I still have like some, I have a family member situation, and I still have to have some like unresolved like bitterness towards, things that I have to like bring before the Lord.
Yeah.
Even though they're still not healthy, I know that reconciliation it might not be possible on this side of eternity, but there is, I have to forgive them.
Yeah.
I have to, you know what I mean? Like that because it blocks intimacy with God and others, and it's not good for me. It's bitterness to my soul. And, the whole adage of, unforgiveness is like, being mad at someone and drinking like, how's it phrased?
It's like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, drinking poison, drinking your own poison, hoping that it kills them. Yeah, hoping that it kills them. That's the whole thing. So, all right, I got one more final question for you guys. And man, getting to the point of the Samaritan's return and realizing that he had to let go of a lot of histories of hurt and prejudice and baggage and, misconception, and, return to this Jewish rabbi, that, whose people had hurt him and judged him and marginalized him his whole life. He laid down a lot to follow Jesus in that, a lot of old wounds that to me, that was like the big aha moment in the text where I'm like, oh, it has everything to do with forgiveness, and I really do believe the Samaritan is free because he left the scorecard behind, right? Yeah. He just walked away from it. And like, I probably geeked out on it more than anyone else in the room, but I thought it was amazing. But yeah, I have two final questions for you. One is, what do you think Jesus might be inviting people listening today to leave behind? So for our listeners, what are some things that you would just encourage them like to leave behind?
One thing that's coming like to me just pretty loud right now is just shame.
Mm.
Yeah, leave it. And like the forgiveness of ourselves.
Mhm.
I think for me that's the hardest thing. It's like
Mhm.
forgiving myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jesus is like, just, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
It's covered.
Yeah.
It's covered. And he doesn't even see us that way.
Mm.
We're the ones who are looking at ourselves just covered with the cloak of shame. And he looks at us with the cloak of righteousness as his son, which still blows my heart and mind. I can't fully understand it on this side of heaven, I don't think. But I would say shame. I think that stops us from a lot of things.
Yeah.
From being vulnerable to other people, inviting other people into our lives, or seeing. I think when we live in shame, it's such bondage, and it gives us a sense of like we can't even see clearly.
Right. Yeah.
That's good.
I think, with the Samaritan, I mean, it was cool to see him just, let go of these cultural constructs and let go of the system that created him, and really just go to Jesus and the racism and all. I mean, there's a lot of things happening today, that I think a lot of us could be like, okay, wait a minute. There's a whole list of things that what would this look like? What would this world look like if we did just leave all those things behind? What if we did just start over tomorrow?
Yeah.
We were all just babies, but still able to talk, and we're like, okay, we know we're almost just dumb. Like, just make us dumb to all the things.
Yeah.
But give us big hearts and let us just, I think, that really, I think that's, what it's asking us to do.
Rise and go.
Yeah.
That last part of it, rise and go, that resurrection language. I really do think it's impossible. And thank you guys so much for just sharing with us today. And I honestly believe that there is just small steps that people can take in their lives, like find a friend, open up, share that thing that you've been terrified to share, not with everybody, not like, but find someone safe and be able to open up about that thing. And man, there's something really powerful about being seen and known and still loved that I think is important for us. And I want to thank you guys for your vulnerability, and just thanks for letting people sneak peek into your hearts and your lives. And it's powerful. And keep doing the good work and keep fighting the good fight. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, we will see you next week. We're starting a new series in the book of Colossians called Held Together. Man, sometimes I feel like my life is held together by a thread. And Colossians actually addresses that. What actually holds us together beyond our own strength. And so we're going to talk about how Jesus is that thread that really holds us together. But I love you, and please like, subscribe, share. When you see Michelle and Britt, tell them how awesome they are and how much you love them and how much their words impacted you. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Centered. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. You can listen to Centered on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube. To learn more about Mosaic or connect further, visit us online at welcometomosaic.com. See you next week.